when I started, I had no clue on how to charge for what I did. And the problem is back in my day, we had no YouTube to do this. And so I kind of just made it up. And so I started talking to different wedding photographers at the time. Like that's how far it goes back. Film and wedding. That's how far back. So 23 years ago, this is how I lived. And I went out there and I didn't know what to do. So I went and talked to some wedding photographers and said, hey, how do I charge for this? And how do I get clients? And, how do I do this? And so it started that way, where I just guessed. And a lot of the times we're just guessing based on our own world and our own world vision, right? So we're going to do a test right now. And this is where it fails horribly and there's no one putting comments in. But in the comments, put how much a wedding would cost to photograph. Okay, just the first number that comes to your head, go, this is how much I'd assume a wedding photographer is going to charge. And hopefully, if it goes right, then there's at least 2 people saying this is how much it thinks. It's probably going to be me or be one of them just to get the conversation going. But here's the reality is the numbers will be different and they'll vary based on what people perceive to be the value. Okay, so everything has got a perceived value. This phone has a perceived value. This laptop has a perceived value. And that's what people pay for it. So what happens when creatives go out there, and freelancers in general do this, is they start really low because they're desperate to get some work. Just let me in. Let me do my thing, right? And often they go in there and they do a decent job. They over-deliver by yards. They don't think about how much they're doing. And then they come out the next time around and they try to charge a little bit more. And they try to charge a little bit more. Most people don't understand the simple math behind things. And so let me break down the math of running a creative business. And let's start there. This is purely for freelancers, okay? If you're getting into business, different conversation for a different day. I'm looking at the freelancer point of view here. So if you are a freelancer, definition, by the way, is you're doing all of the work. Maybe you're subletting, responsibilities to other people, but for the most part, you are doing the work. So here's the best way to get started in pricing is I want you to start by understanding what you do, okay? There's an inherent value in what you do, and you as a person are absolutely invaluable. There is no price I can put on you, and you shouldn't be putting a price on yourself, because as people, our worth is exponential, right? That's the thing that people get messed up with, is they go, oh, well, I'm worth this much per hour. No, you're not. You're worth so much more than that, period, right? This is how much someone's willing to pay you for your time, okay? Very, very simple mindset, fuck up and hack is this. You only get what you negotiate. You never get what you're worth. Okay? Period. So we're into negotiations at this point. Negotiations is a business transaction. That comes into this. You want this. I have this to give. This is the value. So here's how we define the value of what you do. First things first is we need to identify what you do. There are some things that you can't charge $100,000 for. For example, if you're selling a burger, you're not going to be able to charge $100,000 for that burger, or you're going to sell 1 burger, 2 burgers, maybe just on some weird whim or whatever. So let's start by understanding the marketplace. And that is, go and look out there and see if you can find some kind of concept on how much stuff costs in your market. Then you're going to say, okay, well, on average, the average wedding costs X. Okay. So now you have a marker to hit. Now you could go much higher. You can go much lower. This is where the magic of pricing comes in. I want you to start by sitting down. You're going to clear the decks for the morning. And this is the only thing you're going to do in the morning. Now, when you get it done, good news is you have a whole bunch of free time and you can do whatever the hell you want. But you need to do this. So you're going to sit down and you're going to write out every single monthly expense and yearly expense and jam them all together. And I need to know, or you need to know, sorry, how much you make how much you spend per month, per week, per day. That's going to give you a number. Okay, so we're going to use some fake numbers here. I'm going to say that you need to make $100 a day. Okay, so we now know that your daily rate at minimum needs to be $100. This is your absolute rock bottom. This is what I teach in my business course that I did at Loyalist. This is what I'll teach to anybody who's like, hey, how do I get my business running? Very basic basic math. You need to know what's your rock bottom. This is where you're starting, right? So $100 a day, that's your minimum. That means when you're going out there, you're not making any money, you're not losing any money, you're breaking even. Okay, this is why it's called a rock bottom. You never go below this. Now, 20% more is a good start. So we're going to say $120 a day is a good start for that particular situation. Okay, so we know that on average we need to do this. Now let's say the work takes 4 days. Now it's just a simple mathematics. 4 times 120 is $480. That's how much that project costs. Okay, so at the baseline, that's what you need to know. Most people undercharge for this because they don't know their expenses. So what happens when you buy new stuff, when you add new gear? And this is stuff that you wouldn't think, right? Let's take you as a videographer, for example, right? You have a beautiful new camera, beautiful new lens. Did you include the cost of your PC and the time that it takes to destroy that PC, the time that it takes to destroy that camera? Okay, so let's say it takes 5 years. Well, you know that $1,000 camera and that $1,000 laptop in 5 years needs to be replaced. So you need to incorporate that into your cost as well. And so you start adding all these layers up. Now, the more complex your business is, I'm sorry, the longer it's going to take you to do this because there's a lot of moving parts. But if you're just getting started, kudos. First off, welcome to the club. It's going to be tough, but you'll be fine. Second is you need to understand these numbers implicitly. So when you go out there and you give numbers, that you're not messing yourself over. Now, here's the math I like to do. As a rule of thumb, I like to know my baseline costs and then I double it because I know that things come along that I'm not expecting. We call those contingency in film world. They could be, a slow month. Could be this, could be that. It doesn't matter because I'm building that buffer into it. Okay, so I'm building in the profit margin, building on all of that. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you know explicitly what comes out of your day. So that means in my situation, I have gear, I have rent, I have staff, I have a whole bunch of things going on. So I need to know exactly how much it's costing me per day to run this crazy ship called AMP. Okay, that's the trick, is when you understand that, then you can say, well, this is how much it costs to do this. That way, when I walk into a conversation and someone asks me, hey, how much does it cost to do branding? And I say it costs $15,000. I know because I've already done the math in what it takes to do that thing. And so I know that when they come back and they're like, well, that seems a bit expensive, then I can say, well, is it expensive or are we just talking about payment terms? Because payment terms can be negotiated, right? The value of the work is the value of the work. I sell a specific thing. It's the same as selling, like a Mercedes. The Mercedes costs what it costs. They've already put in their profit, they put in all the margin, they put in all those things. We don't question that. So it's the same thing. So that's where I need you to be in your business, is getting to the point where I sell a very specific thing and it's sought after. Now, here's what I want you to do, is to go and look at the best case scenario where you'd love to see it in the future and run it to there. Now give me those numbers. And now you've got your scale. You've got your scale where you are now or where you want to be. Now you can start playing in that scale. Let's say you've bid at 10,000 before, but you're aiming to get to 50,000. Maybe you start bidding at 15,000. Then it moves up 20,000, 25, 30, 40, 50. It's jumps. It's never a big jump. You can't go from selling something at 10,000 to suddenly selling at 50,000 because people know you as the person that was selling something for 10,000. It takes time and it takes effort and it takes value. And you need to understand the value you bring to the table. And that value will be either accepted by the client or not. But it's not on you to get accepted by the client. It's on you to give the fair price of what it takes to do it right. And then just stand by it. And then negotiate terms. That's it. It's super easy. And if I could go back 10 years and tell myself this would be the one lesson I'll teach myself, because ultimately, if you get to this point, it allows you to say no. It allows you to say, that's not right for us. We're not a good fit for you. And that's okay too, because there's a lot of people out there, a lot of customers out there. Go outside, look around, see all the people. They're all customers to somebody. So find the right customers that want to spend the right amount on you, and you will be happy as a creative, as a freelancer, and as a business owner.